All right, folks, we're in week 8, set 1, SWYK 1. We're looking to factor things, quadratics, and we always start off with asking a simple question. Does something have a greatest common factor, a GCF? Remember that from your days of old? Long time ago. What's the largest thing that you can find that goes into both of those? Well, 6 is the largest thing that goes into the coefficient, and x is the largest thing that goes into both terms, x to the first, that is. So I pulled out the 6x, and what you're doing really is you're taking each one of these things and you're dividing it by 6x. That's really what you're doing. So when you do that, you're left with 5x and a minus 3. So the factored form of this, because both of these are linear factors, you can't break anything down farther than linear factors. So we pulled out the greatest common factor, and we're finished with that question. Question 2, very similar. Does it have a GCF? The answer is yes. We pulled out a 3x. I'll let you finish that thought process. You're just taking each one of these things and dividing by 3x to get this figured out. Okay? Moving on to something more difficult here. I know you did this back in Algebra 1, so this is all review. First question we always ask ourselves, do we have a GCF? Answer is no. So there's nothing in common to all three terms. Can't pull anything out. We are going to take this, this is called a quadratic trinomial. Woo, I know. Quadratic because it's a second degree, and trinomial because it's got 3 terms. We're going to break it down into the product of 2 linear binomials. I know. Pretty cool terms. Use them at parties if you feel like it. Only if you want to be cool. All right. Now, how do we get the first part? The first part is always found by taking the square root of the first term. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because later on it's not just going to be x squared. What if it was 4x squared? What if it was 9x squared? Something like that. So keep that in mind. You take the square root of the first term. In this case, obviously, it's just x and x. Now, just as a walk down memory lane, this is the FOIL process. Let me go back here maybe and talk about FOIL. And let me put my face over here somewhere. As you can see, when you go to the grocery store, FOIL comes in a box. That's why I like to use a box. You don't have to use a box if you don't want to use a box for FOIL. But I find it helpful because I don't lose things. And then when the multiplication gets bigger and bigger and bigger, yes, the box gets bigger and I don't lose information. Okay? But for those of you who are comfy with the, just first, outside, first, outsides, insides, lasts. Oops, I did the lasts. If you're comfortable with that and you want to do that, then go for it. I just put a box underneath one of them, and then I drop the other part down on the side, and then I match things up. X times x, x times 3, 2 times x, 2 times 3, and then I put things together. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why am I going through the FOIL process? Because in order to get the last term, we have to do multiplication with the lasts. In order to get the middle term, we have to add the outsides and the insides together. Okay, so part of it, so when we're factoring, we're going to be realizing that the last number gives me that I have to look for things that multiply, factors, but then they add up to be the middle. Okay, it does get a little bit more complicated for some, but not for some of these simple ones. So put my face back over here, see if it's out of the way. It's never out of the way on my drawing tools. Maybe I can drop this down just a hair, and oh, that's beautiful. Okay, now we got the x and the x. Now we're looking for things that multiply together to give us 35, but add up to 12. There's only a couple things that multiply together to give you 35. You got 35 and 1, you got 7 and 5. Now, of those choices, 7 and 5 does add up to 12. So therefore, that's what I chose. X plus 7, X plus 5. this is the final answer. This is what would go on the answer blank or typed into Math Excel. Doesn't matter whether you do the x plus 7 first and the x plus 5 last, or switch them. No, it doesn't matter. Now, if you had a plus and a minus, yes, that would make a difference, and you would definitely want to make sure that the numbers were in the correct spots. But we'll get to that later. So, more practice here. No GCF here, so we can immediately have to multiply together to give me 21 and add up to 10. Hopefully you can think that 3 and 7 are the two things that multiply together to give you 21 and add up to 10. So, hopefully this process starts getting familiar to you. These are just more practice ones that you can work on yourself. Just if you want some extra practice, obviously you're going to go to the SWYK. It's going to generate some for you. So if you need more practice, just keep practicing till you get it right. And woohoo, man, that's all we have for that. Nice. All right, go get that SWYK done. More to come later.